Welcome everybody, it's great to be back with you. Today obviously is June 19th, which is also known as Juneteenth Day. And I'm sure at this point everybody is pretty familiar with Juneteenth Day. It's really a day to celebrate and commemorate the freeing of slaves. And there's a little bit of history behind that. Probably Dr. Hutchinson or somebody in the history department could do a far better job than I could. But just to give you a little bit of background to it, because I think it fits in with the Abbey, you know, where we are today and how we're coming together on this day. You know, the actual Emancipation Proclamation actually went into effect January 1st of 1863. Obviously the Civil War went on during another 2 years. I think it was April 9th of 1865 that you had the surrender of General Lee to General Grant at Appomattox. But we didn't have the technology we have today, so everything just didn't end at that point. And there were actually surrenderings going on in various states for probably almost the next 2 months. So it was actually June, and again it was June 19th, and there was a General Gordon Granger who actually went into Galveston, Texas, and read the Emancipation Proclamation and declared that all slaves were free. There was appropriately a tremendous celebration and spontaneous joy over hearing this news. But that also isn't where it ended. You know, this kept going. It took almost another 16 months. I think it went until almost like August 20th of 1866 before all of the states had come to acknowledge and accept the Emancipation Proclamation. And I say 1866 because then it gives you some context to Belmont Abbey College. In other words, Belmont Abbey College was founded April 21st, 1876. So, literally just a fraction less than 10 years later. And that gives you some context into the culture and the society that, we had one monk come down here with 2 students, and they arrived on the property here April 21st, 1876, and began class the day they arrived. And that was the beginning of Belmont Abbey. And then shortly after that, the monks actually invited the Sisters of Mercy here. They gave them land. They actually built some buildings for them so they'd have a place to live and stay. And so it's fitting then that the monks and the sisters, because of their calling and their vocation, dedicated themselves to helping those who were in need. And obviously at that time, African Americans were in great need. Again, this is less than 10 years after the ending of the Civil War and the freeing of slaves. So you can imagine what it was like. And so, for example, they started the St. Benedict School, which was a school for African American children because African American children were not allowed to attend school at the time. St. Katherine Drexel was an heiress. She inherited a large fortune, but she had a vocation and she had a calling to become a nun, which she did, and she gave up her entire fortune, and she gave the entire fortune to 2 causes. One was for Native American Indians and the other was for African Americans. And so the reason she actually contributed to the money needed to finish the basilica here is because the monks had integrated the church here. And that's why they got her support. There was a stone that was found here on the property that prior to the monks coming, they understood had been used as a slave block. And leave it to the monks to figure out a way to bring good out of evil. They took the stone and they actually converted it to a baptismal font. And on the font, I hope I get this right, I may not recall it exactly, but it's something like, upon this rock, men were once sold into slavery. Now upon this rock, through the waters of baptism, men become free children of God. So it's a beautiful way to take something that was terrible and to try to make it better and to elevate it in such a good and holy way. A cemetery, you take things for granted that you'll always have a place to be buried, and that wasn't the case at this time. So it was important that they had a place that they could be buried, and that they would have some kind of place for a restful burial. And so the monks here actually gave their land to create a cemetery. And so therefore, I only bring these things up because the monks have been intimately involved with the African community here, the African American community here in Belmont, St. Helens Parish and so forth, for really through their whole existence of being here. And it's a fitting day then to commemorate not only the freeing of slaves, but also to focus on what motivated the monks here, like what the Sisters of Mercy, and it's the things that I've been talking about, which is it's really seeking truth. It's about love on the most profound level, and it's about seeing each person in the image and likeness of God. And as the Benedictines, as you know, we welcome each guest in persona Christi. We literally see Christ in each person. And so that's really the joy of this day, and I hope it's a great day for you. In addition, one other thing I'll add, just as a piece of news, Dr. Linda Delane, who is was our interim provost, has officially now left because we have a new provost, and his name is Dr. Travis Feazell. Probably none of you maybe have met him yet. Incredibly great, good person, great background, very varied background. You know, early in his life, he had been, a baseball coach. He had been an athletic director. He actually taught here at the Abbey and was chair of the sports management department here. Had a lot of talent and skills. Moved on and actually became the provost at University of the Ozarks, I think it was. And then he continued to do well and succeed. And he actually moved on and became president of Hastings College out in Nebraska. But he's always had an affinity and a drawback to the Abbey. He's always had a great relationship with Abbot Placid. And so when this position became available, he actually gave up his presidency at Hastings to come back here and be the provost. And so we are very blessed and fortunate. I mean, Dr. Delane had done a great job in, again, moving us forward with all these new majors and programs and the level change that we're going through to be able to offer master's degrees. And I'm just telling you, we're going to continue right on that same trajectory. Dr. Feazell is an entrepreneur. He's a creative person. I think you're going to really enjoy meeting him and talking with him. And so it's kind of exciting that that's a new chapter again for Belmont Abbey in that regard. And then some of the other things, I think I told you about the lights. The lights are going forward on the field. I'm hearing August 8th is the date. I hope that's when it's all happening, and I don't know if that's finishing or starting at that point. I think maybe it's finishing. And then the labs that, George and Susan Horner have been incredibly generous in providing for the labs, which are under construction now. I peeked in the other day, and they're coming along. I think they're going to look great. And then the Memorial Garden, which we'll have, when we get back in the fall and you're all back, we'll have a formal ceremony where Abbot Placid can kind of bless, the gardens and so forth. And there's a beautiful stone there with an inscription about Rita Lewis as well. So it's really beautiful, it's peaceful, and hope you'll be enjoying it soon. So I miss you, can't wait for you to be back, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and God bless.